We thank you for a new day, beautiful day, a fall day. We thank you for a wonderful extended holiday. We thank you for time with our family and friends and for wonderful food and just this holiday season of the year. Now we come to gather together to take care of county business, and we pray for your divine direction and wisdom on each and every matter here. We pray for this county. We pray for the leadership of the county. We pray for the citizens of the county. We pray for our first responders here. We thank you for the quality of life that we enjoy here and ask that you would direct us to make decisions on the behalf of the county that will ensure that that continues. We turn the agenda over to you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. For the record, today is November 27, 2017. This is our second regular meeting of the month, and we will begin with public comments if there are any. Item number one, anyone would like to address the court on a non-agenda item to abide with our Texas Open Meetings Act. Then I will move on to consider and possibly approve minutes from our last meeting 2 weeks ago, November 13th meeting. Consider and possibly approve the minutes.
I make a motion, Judge, we approve the minutes.
Motion's made by Commissioner Parker for approval. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 3, and I will follow that up here with item number 4, and then also jump down to item number 10, subdivision ordinances. But let's begin with our road engineer report. Roger, welcome.
Morning.
We completed mowing in all precincts, so all the mowing's done. We're continuing to concentrate on potholes throughout the county. We completed about a 200-foot long section of a base failure on County Road 1475 and surfaced it with cold mix. That's the one I think you went up there and looked at.
Yeah, I've seen it.
We fixed some large base failures on County Road 2140. That's that dead-end road that goes to several chicken houses. Off of 127, once you pass the Glover Bottom, First County Road to the right. We haul wrap on County Road 3440. This is a temporary fix. We plan on coming back in the future with a more permanent fix. That's that one you called me about, Dana. It's also a dead-end road. We plan on starting work on County Road 1360. That's one of yours out. There are many base failures from the log trucks that were using this road. The loggers are gone now. We will see how much we can get done on it. I'm not sure what we can get done just due to the weather, but we're going to go ahead and try to get started on it. We plan on working on the areas where the cars were dragging and the pavement's all busted off pieces. We're going to start on those areas first, which is basically from that log house south to County Road 12.
1550?
1250.
1250.
Yeah, this is on County Road 1360.
Yeah. Up to 1250. They're not supposed to come through there. They were supposed to be going out.
What, 271?
No, the road to Franklin County, 1760, 1790, or whatever it is, off of 271.
Yeah.
When they come out of there, they're supposed to went up 1360 and took a right.
And Franklin County?
Yeah, to Franklin County, that county road across there.
Well, I know there's some places just south of that intersection with that road that goes to Franklin County. It's tore real bad there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they did that or not.
That was the route, and I a couple times I checked it. They weren't they were going that way. But they're through with all that, I guess. I hope. I don't know.
Yeah,
They've been,
if they cut everything out there.
but that road now is only 2 houses on that road. I wouldn't spend a lot of money. We used that wrap and put a little oil on it before just to keep it level. It's sort of like it's a ranch road. It's not a
Right.
not a
That's probably
truck.
what we do. We'll take the bow mag up there and mix a bunch of wrap in with it.
You think you need to do that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be more of a long-term fix, but yeah. I think it'd be.
I don't think I wouldn't spend that kind of money on that road. That would I
Just
would
dump the wrap on top.
yeah. Just keep it patched, graded, just like that ranch road over at Sugar Hill. I don't know how much I don't know how much money you can spend on a road that nobody travels. One house actually
Right.
goes on that road, and they go to Franklin County.
So you just want to just dump wrap on it?
Well, just keep it passable is all that it needs. I wouldn't put a bow mag. I wouldn't go to that trouble
Okay.
to break that road up.
All right, we can do that. Take wrap.
Now, from 1360 back toward 271, you got some patches in there. We've done some big patches, but you got potholes get in that road is
Right.
regularly. There's a lot of traffic there over to 1200.
Right.
Once you
Yeah,
get
for the chicken houses are over 1,200, it's pretty bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But from 271 to 1200, they
Right.
need some potholes patched in there. That's
You want to just dump wrap on those too? or-
no. I'm just patch them like they need to be patched. Soft spots, whatever. When you can get to them.
Okay.
How do you patch? Well, like you patch everything else.
Yeah.
Cold mix.
Okay. All right, so this section of 1,200, just dump wrap on top.
Do I now?
On this section of 1360, from the log house down to at least where it turns off, go to Franklin County Road, you just want to dump wrap on it, and that's it?
Yeah, just keep it
Okay.
graded, passable. Just not a. I certainly wouldn't tear it up with a bow mag and repave it. I can make a point. I can ride out there with you or Philip to make sure we're in the right spots. But
Yeah, I think we're all in the same area. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
You know where Chuck Menifee? You know who Chuck Menifee? You know where
No, I don't know where you live.
he's got a chicken house and he's got a little shop there. Then when you leave there going back west, it's just one house all the way around there.
Okay.
Mary McClellan lives in it. I think that's her last name.
Okay. Now, you do realize wrap has a value of $20 a cubic yard.
Sir?
You do realize wrap has a value of $20 a cubic yard. That is
Well,
the value of wrap.
Well, it's a lot cheaper than $80 a ton for coal mix. And whatever you'd have to put back in it if you tore it up with a bow mag, what would you put back in it?
Probably a little bit of fly ash base
Yeah,
and maybe a little bit of wrap. I
Yeah,
don't think we
and
need
a
all
little
our wrap we got.
Why don't y'all discuss specifics as to what you're going to do there? He's giving you some input that he doesn't think spending a lot of money on that road is important. That's certainly okay with me, and maybe let Roger suggest to you what he thinks the bare minimum would be and how he would accomplish it, see if you're in agreement with that. But either way, let Commissioner Riddle, make the final call.
I wish that we could put that in this policy magazine that before he does these roads, because I know
Well,
Dana didn't
he's
do
here
it.
telling you what he's getting ready to do, so I think this is how the system's supposed to work. And if y'all feel different, tell him. And we're gonna look at these, and we can expand on these policies any way you want to. Roger, what else?
Since we finished mowing, we plan on getting our side cutters back to work, and so we can get caught up on the brush removal. And that's about it. Got any questions?
Questions, comments? What else will you be working on over the next couple of weeks?
Mainly potholes. We're cutting some trees today. We got pothole repairs. We got 2 culverts we're putting in today, so we're just trying to get caught up on what's left.
Potholes in general for at least the next couple of weeks.
All potholes for the next 2 or 3 months, probably.
Okay.
The potholes won't seem to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick up the trees.
Commissioners, any questions for Roger? Comments? Discussion? All right, if not, let's move on to item number 4, consider and possibly approve some policies for the county road department. Commissioner Riddle's put together at least a starting point on these and has provided you with a copy of those. Commissioner Riddle, if you'd like to make comments on that.
No, just the regulations say, spell out the job of the road managers, what his responsibilities are and authority, and then one of the things that follow the policies as set forth by the commissioners. And so we didn't have any policies. We hadn't made any, and we need to have some policies that we need to talk about. And so this was a start, and I do. And we can add to it or subtract, discuss at any time, but these are the policies it is. And I got a list of 5 of them to start with, and I put it in each commissioner's box. I hope they do it. But
You want to read that into the record? You want me to read this? What would you like?
yeah, well, you can read it.
All right. These are proposed Titus County Commissioners Court policies for County Road Department. We've got 5 here today. Number 1, if a citizen builds a driveway from the county road to the owner's property, the county will install the culvert. The citizen shall be responsible for the cost of the culvert. The size of the culvert must be a minimum of 24 feet long and 12 inches in diameter. Item 2, trees that are located or fall in the county right-of-way will be removed by the county. Trees that fall on private property will be the responsibility of the property owner. Item 3, dead animals on the county right-of-way will be removed and disposed of by the county. All other dead animals on private property will be the responsibility of the property owner. Item 4, County Road Department's contractors for any reason, including but not limited to record-keeping, labor, and/or any other services, must be approved by the Commissioners Court. And item number 5, County Road shall not hire employees, full or part-time, without the approval of the Commissioners Court. Any elaboration here? Any questions, comments, discussions by commissioners? And then I'll ask for the same from Roger.
Roger, is there any problem with that on hiring people or positions?
No, because I knew I'd have to go through y'all to get to hire anybody,
Yeah.
fire anybody, any positions that I hire, I have to get approved first, salaries and everything, so I know I have to go through that.
Okay.
Well, this one doesn't say hire or fire. So, you know, if you have a need for an immediate termination, how do y'all feel about that? You still want him to run it by you at least?
I think that's his responsibility, not.
Anything else, Roger? Any other comments here?
On the second one, if there's a tree that's on the county right-of-way, falls on private property, we just cut it off the fence line, we don't treat it.
I don't know anything about that, so.
Well, we've always done, if a tree, you're talking about a tree on county property falls across the fence,
Yes.
if we can get it without having to get on private property, if we can get it from the county side, we always go ahead and get it. But we always fix the fence.
Okay.
And we've come by and fences be somebody run in it during the night, and we'd still fix the fence, because the last thing we need is cattle out on the road. So as long as we're on county property and we can fix it or get the tree, that's fine. But if it's overgrown, you can't clear it off, then you cut it off just past the fence line and.
Okay. I mean, does our policy, do we want to just cut it off the fence line and we remove our part, anything that falls on the other side of the fence, we just leave it there?
Most time people are glad you've got it cut. I'm gonna say we need to stay on our side of the fence. If we can pick the tree up and the top of it is over on private property and you pick that tree up, I don't have any problem with getting that because it's actually our tree if it fell across the fence.
What about a situation where you've got a row of trees there that are on the owner's property and these beautiful branches hang over that right-of-way line, and then we come in there and shave them all off, and then I think we've had this, an upset
We have.
homeowner that says, I don't want you coming in here and butchering my trees that are growing on my property, and our excuse is, well, it's hanging out into our right-of-way, and we feel the need to cut those off. I mean, what do we do in a situation like that? Do we at least communicate with the landowner? Do we just cut it? Do we not cut it?
Just out of courtesy, you need to stop and visit with these people and let them know what you're planning on doing. And there may be a solution there. They can say, well, hey, and this is what happens most of the time. Do you mind if I cut them? And cut them back and stuff, and where they won't be so butchered up.
Of course, that's a lot of people to talk to.
Well, I understand, but I'm talking about in front of homes and stuff like that. I'm not talking about down right away there.
Well,
No homes or anything. I take a little more time with those in front of the trees in front of their houses. And I've never had any problem out of it.
So y'all want to make another policy that states that?
That's one of the policies there. I've had the same situation where the guy didn't want to cut. I said, well, we got to cut it 13.6 of the law so a truck can go under these limbs. And I talked to them, they agreed on 1360, actually.
I think what Roger's asking is, are you requiring him to communicate with the landowner, or are you giving him the authority to go ahead and cut what he needs to cut?
Well, I think he's giving him the authority to cut it.
And leave it up to his discretion as to whether or not to communicate with the landowner if he feels like there might be a
Right.
problem?
Or,
I think so. I think you just use your discretion there. But we need to be prepared to back him up if he determines that it needs to be cut and did not feel like it was necessary to communicate with the landowner.
Because normally when I send them out, I give them a list of roads to go cut, and they just start cutting.
what do you do now?
That's what we do now. What we do now, I just give them a list of roads and tell them, this is the ones you need to go cut.
All right. Any other comments on these, Roger?
Now, just like I said, number two, I mean, if it's county tree that falls off the right of way, we're just gonna cut it at the fence.
I think that's a judgment deal right there. If it's gonna cause a lot of problems, I just cut it 6 inches, fix the fence back. I think we need to fix the fences. I don't think we should leave them down and.
Even if the branch grew from the neighbor's property and the whole branch fell and it broke the fence, that's our responsibility?
I think we need to fix the fence. Let me tell you, you got a cow or a horse or something out there on that road, and somebody hits that, and we took the tree off, but we didn't fix the fence. And-
If you put it in policy, it also becomes a liability to the county too.
I agree.
Do what?
Once you put it in policy, it also becomes a liability issue for the county.
I understand that.
It makes us responsible.
Now, when we say fix the fence back, my dealings, my experience is we just fix it back so cows and stuff can't get out.
That's right.
And one guy come to me and said, "Hey, like it was before, you're supposed to stretch it tight and all that stuff." And I said, well, I don't know whether I can do that or not. And I didn't do it. And he
Well, how is it our responsibility if that line is right here and the tree's on the owner's property and that branch falls over and breaks his fence? How is
Right.
that county responsibility to fix that fence?
So, well, I was thinking the other way, if it was on the county and fell over.
No, I would agree, that's
Yeah.
probably our responsibility, but
Yeah,
if a
but that's it.
big oak tree in his front yard falls down and breaks his fence, I don't see that that's our responsibility.
I
I don't
haven't had
support that.
I haven't had that happen, but
It's one of those nice sprinkler fences.
we just cleaned it off to the fence row.
Yeah, what if it's a nice Preferred fence?
Yeah,
You put something up there where they can't get out, pray for to fix his fence, but I'm saying we don't need to leave a fence down where there's animals out there. I think there's liability there too.
there's wire at precinct 1 for that purpose, just to put it up to keep people cows getting out on weekend stuff.
Well, I've done in the past, if something like that happens, the fence is down, I will call the people that go by and see them and let them know that we put lawn mower and stuff, it may not meet your standard, but we've got it at least where they can't get out. If you want it fixed better or back to the original deal, that's your baby. You'll have to take care of that, but we did fix it where the cattle couldn't get out.
Even though he didn't keep his trees trimmed. I don't see how that's us. I sure don't want to modify that to obligate us to fix that.
Right.
All right.
And I'm not talking about fixing it back like it was. It's, you know, if it's a Preferred fence, fix it at least where something
Fix it
can't
back
get
where
out.
Cows can't get out.
There again, discretion.
That's more of a curse.
Use your discretion. Communicate with the landowner. He may say, hey, don't worry, I'm gonna fix it back this
Yeah.
afternoon or tomorrow, or you don't worry about it. I'll get my cows in another pasture.
A lot of these are in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Commissioners, you have any other comments on this? And if not, if you're supportive of this, let's, give me a motion here.
Well, another thing, on number 4, if we get into emergency situations, do we have to have it approved by the actual court meeting? Or is there a way, we can get it done sooner? If something happens the day after we have a court meeting and we get in kind of emergency situation where we gotta have some extra help to maybe cut some trees or something, can we get all the commissioners to sign off on it or something?
Why don't you get you at least talk to 3 commissioners and get them to approve it? What do you think here? Get them to say, yes, I'll ratify this, but
I hope that we get involved. If you have an emergency,
You're gonna have emergency, I guarantee you that.
Right. There'll be
Well,
something
yeah, I
that
mean,
comes up that you're gonna may have to have
that's
some
not,
additional help.
that's,
But call him, call me.
Yeah, or whatever,
Call two and
it's-
say, this is what I got.
Okay.
You may have to have a very unsafe situation there.
Right.
You put up all the barricades you want, but what I found out, when you put the barricades up, the next time you go to get something, you get back up there, the barricades are gone. For some reason, they like to throw them in ditches and over fences.
Oh, yeah. They can get through, they'll move the barricade and get through. That's
well,
people's nature. They don't like going around. They don't like any
Well,
inconvenience.
there'll be some places they'll have to go around.
Yeah,
They
they
can't get
through.
through. 2 years ago, we had 3 roads gone. There's nothing there. Put barricades up, and I sat over there one morning for 2 hours till we could get some barricades out there, because it was such a dangerous situation.
what I'm interpreting here is you don't want him hiring outside services without your approval.
that's right.
You're not talking about him sending out his own crew to fix an emergency
Not at all.
situation.
Not at all. I'm talking about hiring a Swain to be hauling wrap and gravel. He needs to
Yeah.
talk to the,
Is that how you're interpreting it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's a situation,
Any services that I would want to hire somebody, I got to do.
and what would be an emergency situation example?
Some trees that we can't cut ourselves. May have some power lines that are close to it, and we need to hire somebody else to come in, maybe with a taller bucket truck and stuff to clear it.
Well,
But even with that, it'd probably be 2 or 3 days later.
Okay.
before we need.
Well, and if it's in between court meetings and you can get 3 of these guys to say, I understand what you need and I'll support this and I'll ratify this at the next meeting, you know, you've got the 3 of them in
Right.
agreement. Is that adequate?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
I don't see why that's any other emergency.
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I think it's just, we can handle it. I don't understand the complaint. I mean, you have to handle emergencies, but
Well, to give him the latitude of handling a situation before the next commissioners' court meeting, is it okay if he talks to 3 of you and gets your approval before the next meeting?
in case of emergency, I think that it should be. Should have that thing without, if you can't get a hold of one of us or anybody.
Anything else? All right, gentlemen, what do you want to do here?
Make that motion.
All right, motion's made by Commissioner Fields,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Riddle to support formulation of policies for our county road department with the beginning to be these 5 items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And while I've got you here, we had a discussion along with, and Clint Bain is here. Let's jump down to item number 10 to discuss subdivision ordinances. You want to initiate this conversation? Would you like me to?
I can,
Let me just start off, and then you start off. I've got this on here because we've got a situation, and I see this as an ongoing situation where we need to remind ourselves what policies we put together when we develop the subdivision ordinances. Specifically, in the situation of building a new road that is going to service a new subdivision as defined by our subdivision ordinances, are we going to require the developer to build that road to county specs, even though he's telling us this is just going to be my family's road, or this is just going to be a private road, it'll never be a county road? Or are we going to require them to adhere to the quality standards of building a county road, which is what we discussed and agreed upon when we developed these subdivision ordinances. We do have an interested developer wanting to develop some lake lots, and I believe that we are far enough past the transition point of these new subdivision ordinances where we should, and I certainly support, requiring a developer to build that road to the quality standards as defined by the county, so that those roads could be taken over by the county. May not ever be, but they could be. But either way, even though they use the word, oh, this is a private road, we're going to say, I'm sorry, private roads and future county roads are to be built the same way. And that also carries with it the requirement to put up a bond for the proper construction of that county road. I'll turn it over to you.
What's come up here recently, here over the past 4 or 5 months, I've been speaking on and off with Emily Bell. She and her husband own some property that's going to have frontage on Lake Bob Salmon. County road dead ends at the property, but to be able to put what they feel to be sufficient number of lots on the property to turn profit on this, it's going to have an interior road constructed. She's spoken with Roger, and I think may have spoken with Mike, Commissioner Fields, on this, I pointed out to her what our planning procedures call for a private road, or for a road construction in a subdivision. How this concerns me is, initially, when she submitted the site plan for on-site sewage, part of it was indicating that a 32-foot wide road easement. And then when I got into the drawings, one of them was showing a 32, the other one was showing a 24-foot wide road easement. Well, either way, a 24-foot wide road easement, that's barely meeting what the requirement is for the surface area. And so I contacted her because how this is going to concern me is if I can't approve it at that, because if y'all turn around and turn it down, and she has to come back and put in a wider easement, some of those lots that were 1.1 acre probably aren't going to be 1.1 acre once it has an additional 10 or 15 feet taken off the front of it for the width of that lot. And that's when we're going to get into, it's going to affect our minimum lot size, and that's what gets into my part of all this. What requirements are put on building roads, what variances y'all allow, that's up to y'all. But we need to me, we need to come up and draw a line in the sand and say, this is what's going to be required. Because like I said, that a 24-foot wide road easement, I mean, like, again, I'm no road engineer, I don't know nothing about this, I'll defer all that to Roger. But a 24-foot wide road easement, if you got 4 or 6 foot ditches on either side, you got 12-foot road surface at best. And 2 vehicles can't be on that.
Maybe I'm confused. It's in that subdivision thing, we did exactly the right of way, the ditches.
Exactly in that.
And it's just, and to me, if you're gonna subdivide a piece of property, if it's a family, I mean, we've made 2 exceptions that I didn't agree with lately, letting a guy not make it to one standard out near the lake, and then we made one with that, letting the guy put two trailer houses on one septic tank. I don't agree with those exceptions, but anyway, I don't think we should do it here. If it's a family property, why is he subdividing it? And
what this is, in this case, they're not subdividing it for profit. It is going to be a subdivision.
Right.
Is not
Well,
a compound or anything like that.
I don't understand why he can't.
And now, when we do get into dealing with family stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like somebody owns a 200-acre ranch and they build a house for them and their 4 kids, as long as that all remains family, we're very limited on what we can require, because the local government code does show that as being an exemption from the subdivision. However, you let one of the kids get divorced, they have to sell their house in an acre, it's not a subdivision.
Well,
And then we have to turn around and go back after the fact.
don't we have a minute?
And that's going to be tough to do, but I don't know how we're going to get around that, because they are afforded that exemption. But on this case, this is for profit, they're creating a subdivision, and we just need to figure out where these people are just being confused on what's going to be required, or are we going to require this on this subdivision, or are they going to be required to go by the guidelines?
Well, I thought that's why we made the subdivision, is that we were going to require it. What are they asking us to do? Why are they coming? What are they asking us to do?
They really haven't come to us. I think that either their interpretation of that.
We're trying to head this off as fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hasn't been
he's
done
caught
yet.
this. He's caught this early. You have people with money. You're selling lots that are worth a lot of money. This is a perfect example of a road that needs to be adhered to strictly. But we also need to be reminded that as much as they're not going to want to hear it, when they're subdividing land and a road is involved, we need to start sticking by our minimum road standards.
Well, the minimum is 40 feet, 16 feet wide surface, and a coastal sack at the end. period. Now, I thought that's what,
And the
Isn't it
measurements are on
60?
that diagram, what it should
It's
be,
60
I don't know.
feet, 60
That's not
feet.
what the subdivision policy says.
I'm talking about.
What do you mean? Wait a minute.
60 feet?
Yeah, 60 foot of right of way with 24 foot of service and 8 inches.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We changed that up here last year.
Because I was confused on it too. And I was confused whether it was going to be a private road, was it different from being a county road? It's like these people just wanted to do the private road.
What's a private road today can be a beg for a county road the next day.
Right.
You know, once that developer is over and done with, he doesn't really care, and then those homeowners can be left with a mess. We want to stop that kind of situation.
Right.
We'll deal with it at the very beginning like we're dealing with now and require that to be built to county specs with the appropriate bond.
And so far, we've never made anybody use bond. have we?
No. But we've never made anybody adhere strictly to this standard either.
So as far as from here forward, we're going to make them adhere to all the standards in our subdivision policy.
Well, the court still maintains the authority to reevaluate on a case-by-case basis, but I believe that we should preach a consistent theme going forward, that we have established minimum road standards on a subdivision, and here they are. And here's why. It's not just for the future of your residents, it is for our first responders who need to get heavy vehicles in and out of there in an emergency situation. That, to me, is the most important reason of all.
Now, have we ever spelled out, and I haven't read this thing complete detail from one end or the other about when they have to have this road in this condition? I mean, I don't think you want it at the very beginning because more likely concrete trucks and other delivery trucks are going to tear it up when they're building houses in the subdivision. So it's probably going to have to be rebuilt. Now, do we want them to build it to this standard and rebuild it?
I guess that's where your bond protects you, but I don't know the answer to that. That's where I'll rely on you. It makes sense to me to build that road right at the get-go so that it can withstand those trucks. But you brought up a good point the other day in our meeting that as long as that bond is in effect, we have that protection that the road must be completed to county specs. So if we want to postpone the requirement of those road standards being met until later on, I don't know. That seems to me to be difficult to monitor.
Well, you'll find out where your base rater's at,
Yeah.
and it's bonded, so you can make.
And more likely, if they know that going in, you know, that they've got to at least have a seal coat service on the road. And if the road tears up while they're building all the houses, they know they got to come back and rebuild it. I think that'd be fine, as long as everybody understands it.
But you've got subdivisions that have got lots still not completed yet, and it's been 10 years.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure we got a lot of people out there, people making promises and never built the road.
Well,
But as long, you know, they may not want to keep paying that bond premium. They've got to keep paying that bond premium until that road is complete to specs. I say it should be built properly at the onset.
Well, I think the width needs to be exactly what we adopted last year. I don't have those in front of me, but it's 60 feet, that's what it needs to be, and we need to go by that. There's people that are in a subdivision, they're paying a premium because they're supposed to get this, and it needs to be that way. That's what we adopted, and that's the way it needs to stay.
I don't know whether it's because we got so many roads that don't have any elevation, but the elevation, the width, and all that's very important for drainage. And too many of our county roads are the road is the drainage ditch.
Yes, it is. It's the
That's-
lowest point out there.
Yeah, that's what.
It's been built up, it's cutting, and We got a lot of them like that.
Those roads have been county roads for 100 years,
Yeah,
too.
with the wagons.
Wagons went down.
I think we should, I don't know why we wouldn't stay right with it. The regulations, whatever they are, I don't know. I wouldn't even consider changing them.
Okay.
But that's my thoughts.
Just a reminder, discussion, this is not an action item. All right, anything else, gentlemen, either one of you? Philip?
Good. I mean, that's what we wanted to know.
Yeah, and
We
again,
don't
this-
adhere to these, that's what we're gonna make sure they understand, we have to adhere to our subdivision.
Do we want to address the bond amount?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, because $100 per
Way, not
foot of road.
it's not bad.
Roger made an observation that the way that the bond amount is determined really doesn't result in adequate coverage by the developer to ensure the proper completion of the road. And I don't know if you've determined what that revision
No,
ought to
I
be.
haven't actually come up with a number.
Well, why don't we put this back on the agenda to reconsider the subdivision road bond amount requirement on the next meeting, and you'll take a look at that and come up with a value that you believe adequately protects the county.
All right, I will.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Let's move on to move back to item number 5, consider and possibly approve the purchase of 3 metal detectors at a cost of $12,619 to be paid out of the security fund. This is what Paul Lindsay presented to you at the last meeting, total of 3 metal detectors and the cost of one, I think, a caster system to move these things around. And then this also includes 3 handheld metal detectors that can be used for more direct screening should one of these big ones go off. So 3 metal detectors. This all includes a 30% discount. The 3 metal detectors by themselves at $11,500, a caster system for carrying these around from location to location, $210, and then 3 scanners at a total cost of $420, bringing the grand total with shipping $12,619.36 to be paid 100% out of the security fund.
Make that motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Fields and seconded by Commissioner Riddle for approval on this purchase. All in favor say aye. Aye. Item number 6, we had talked last time about that front facade of the courthouse annex, whether or not we were going to move forward with spending some money to correct or improve or replace that front facade. And you had that bid from Jones, as I recall, from Richard Jones, and you were going to ask him what that bid was for, and we were going to decide if we wanted to do any work over there.
Yes, that was a bid, but it had a lot of work other than the fellow that puts on the stucco or whatever it's called. It had come by and bid, and that included a bid. So I told Jones, I said, well, we probably should put this up for bid then, because we never advertised it. And he said, I understand, I agree. So I think we should put it up for bid.
Well, let's approve the work first.
Okay.
Before we do that.
Okay, yeah.
I'd like to know more about what it is we're proposing doing and why we feel that it's important. I'm not saying I don't agree, I just would like to know more.
Well, that's a good point, because some of it behind it is brick down this far end. Rest of it's, I don't know what it is, stucco or plywood.
Are we talking specifically about that black
the black stuff.
rock, not the white stuff that's across the top front of the
Right.
annex? We're talking only about the black. Are you supportive of spending money to correct, replace, repair, improve that black rock? What is it that you're asking us to consider?
Some of that rock has fallen off, and it needs to be replaced or patched or something, and I wouldn't, I don't know whether we can do it or not, patch it or not, and then, but the behind it, behind the black rock, in some places, just plywood's there, and that's where it's really falling off. Then some of the places, it's brick. So I don't, and it's not falling off. It's stuck there, like going around the corner. So I wouldn't repair that unless just for the looks, to match the courthouse and match what we've done on the west side of the block over there, just for looks. But some of that black stuff I think will continue to fall. Some of it. I don't think it'll do it down at this end, but it will fall and have to be corrected, but I don't know the whole job. I'd kind of like to know what it would cost. I'd really like to see what Jones had in that bid, but I don't want to, I don't want to look at it until I really don't know what we should do. I'd like to bid it and see what we would take to repair
When you
it.
say you'd like to bid it, how open-ended are you leaving that request for bid? Are you saying, I want you to put black rock back the same size, the same locations as it is before? If so, you need to, if you're asking for a bid, you've got to have a very specific
Right.
job that you're asking them to bid. Now, if you want Richard to go over there and make some alternate suggestions as to how he would fix the aesthetic appearance of the outside of that annex, then let him have latitude of suggesting, here's what I would do. I'd pull it off and I'd paint it, or I'd pull it off and stucco it, or I'd pull it off and put marble, or I'd pull it off and put the exact same thing, or I'd re-glue it. But we can't just ask somebody to bid, hey, go fix that. Well, his definition of fixing it may be not what we want, and I don't want to waste Richard's time, and I don't want to waste a potential bidder's time just trying to come up with ideas until we go, yep, that's what we want.
Right.
And I don't know who you hire to do something like that other than an architect.
You can get Richard, go in there, and exactly what he said. You got some of it with plywood, some of it with brick. You may want to put a whole new black material up there, and any wood replace that. But, you know, if we're going to do that, we need to do what's inside this courthouse. We got places, walls that's got holes that big.
Okay, we will do that. In fact, I think we've already approved getting bids for that. And I'm still not opposed to doing that. But specifically on this today, do you want to give Richard the latitude of suggesting some alternatives? And I'd say, here's what we want to accomplish. We want to take care of any safety hazards of stuff falling on somebody's head. We want to take care of protecting the building, and we don't want bare plywood out there. And then he may have an idea, well, yeah, you don't want to go back to this black rock. This is 25-year-old technology. You want to do something different.
We had a conversation this morning, and he said that he would get back with me in a couple of days and tell me what he thought that we needed to do. 'Cause I'm not sure what he said in his bid. I haven't looked at it, although I did tear it open, but I didn't look at it. And I told him that, and I said, you're going to have to give me another copy if you do. But I said, he said he would let me know. He'd give me his ideas, what he thought. And he said, I'll do it the next day or two. I'll get back with you. That was this morning.
Let's start there. Let's get an idea of what we want to do before we ask for somebody to spend the time bidding it.
Right.
Sound okay with y'all?
Can we not get Richard to come in and explain to us, say at our next meeting, as to what he feels like needs to be done?
I think we should, yeah.
And he's done this before, but he can write up the specs where anybody can bid on it, even him. He's just saying, this is what we're going to do. And,
Yeah, it all has to be.
This is what I think will solve the problems, and then bid it out.
Okay. Well, let's do that. Let's let him give us a suggestion as to what he would do before, and then we'll turn him loose to bid the project out.
The flagpole That lady won't return my calls, so I don't know.
Okay.
And the only other person that I've ever talked to is Mr. Dismuke, and he said that the city did it. Louis Gohmert's dad, I think, or something, architect.
How could I get the name? Do you still have her number?
Yes, yes,
Could you get Carolyn that number?
sure.
I'll be gone this afternoon. Let me just try. I liked working with her. I don't know why she's being so hard to communicate with. Maybe I'll have some luck. But if you'll get me her, I'll try calling her.
Okay.
If she says that's something that they specialize in, I'd like to talk to her.
I will.
Okay. Let's move on to item 7, consider and possibly approve a resolution for sale of property. Here's some more previously struck off property. We've gotten a bid's less than what the tax roll had it, but Tim Taylor is asking us to consider whether or not we want to accept this. It's going to require multiple taxing authority approval. Let me read you this. A bid for the purchase of the above referenced tract of land, which is Lot 52 of Block 30 in Mount Pleasant, formerly in the name of Jesse Davis. A bid has been on property that has been previously struck off at a delinquent tax auction back on April 4th of 2017 to the City of Mount Pleasant as trustee for the taxing entities of Titus County has been received by the city from Mount Gilmore Missionary Church and adjoining landowner. The city has accepted this bid of $1,500 and is willing to sell the property with the consent of the other entities involved. The sales price for the above lot at $1,500 is for less than the judgment amount of $5,399. That's how much tax is accumulated that's been unpaid. And the present tax appraisal value of $1,650. So ideally, we would like to achieve the minimum value of the property plus whatever judgments against it, which puts it up there around $7,000. That's not what we have. As is often the case, $1,500 is the bid. This is a small vacant lot located on Martin Luther King Avenue, which is in need of cleanup, which the church has indicated they would do. I would enclose documentation for the court's consideration. I prepared a resolution. Tim Taylor is recommending that we sell this property to that bidder at $1,500.
Make that motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Fields to accept the bid.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Riddle. All in favor of that sale, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sign this. Number 8, consider and possibly vote for appointments to the Titus County Appraisal District Board. We do this annually. The Appraisal District Board has 5 members. About a month ago, we nominated 2 new names. They were James Reynolds and Greg Holt. I'm asking that you cast your votes for those 2 new names that we submitted for consideration, and they are on the ballot. And they're not the only names, obviously, on the ballot. You'll have 3 or 4 existing members. We have one of the 5th one rolls off the board at the end and is asked not to be reconsidered. That was Chuck Barco. James Reynolds, Greg Holt would be my suggestion.
Make that motion to nominate those 2.
Got a motion by Commissioner Fields.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Applewhite. Any questions, comments, discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 9 is consider and possibly approve the payment of a pauper's funeral for Willie Howard. Don't know much about this situation, very similar to the one that we considered a couple of weeks ago or 2 meetings ago. The applicant for the deceased is a Robin Stoker, who has signed a statement. I, the undersigned, hereby state that I was related to the deceased Willie Hood as the sister. I further state that neither the deceased nor any person responsible for the deceased had any assets such as money, bank accounts, investments, insurance, property, or any such assets other than those listed below, which are all indicated as zero, is the statement that she has signed. And then I have asked for a statement from J.C. White Funeral Home, and that statement says, J.C. White has not received any form of compensation for the funeral service for Willie Howard. If any form of compensation is received, we will notify the county judge. And that again prevents somebody from just using the money that the county provides to supplement a more expensive funeral. This is the bare necessities cremation provided by J.C. White. Normally costs $2,000 is what they charge. That's discounted down to $950, which is the standard county price. So, are you willing to pay for this pauper's funeral?
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Fields makes the motion, and Commissioner Riddle seconds that. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 11 is approve oral and written reports. Thank you. Christie, your FEMA Precinct 3 showing 0. Does that mean we spent all the money and completed that?
We did, they came and went around and looked and looked at the roads, so we just transferred right over, trying to go back to that 23 was funded in this year. So we just transferred it to the 620. We did the same thing with, Fund 71.
Do we still have some money to be received from FEMA? About how much?
Well, right now, 59,000 is what, received two is still out.
Okay. And since he's gone, do you know, is Roger aware of the need to finish that project and
Yes,
spend that?
he's got two, and I'm gonna file another extension. They allow so many that it'll be the spring before he said both of those could be worked on again.
Okay. And we can extend it out that far without a problem.
Make a motion, we approve the oral and written report.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Parker has made the motion for approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor, say aye. Consider possibly approve our treasurer's report is item 12. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheryl, we've closed out all the county park, all that is closed out, zeroed out. Had a person call me yesterday and say, he was at the county park. I said, well, I'm really not the one you need to talk to. But he said, well, who do I send the paycheck? He had about 20 people there this weekend. He said, nobody ever showed up. He said, and I told him to get a hold of Trent Abbott, I'm sure he'll take your check. So they had undoubtedly a large group there, about 20, 25 people. I'm sure he'll appreciate
Did he
your
not,
check.
do they not have a payment box? that he can
They
use?
have a payment box, but he usually, this guy, they come every Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving, there's a bunch of
I
them.
guess he didn't need to be writing a check and didn't want to leave that much cash.
And so I said, you can get him at the Gary Bond Bank, and you send him the check, I guarantee you he'll get it. So he said, well, we just always done this every year, and I just take one big payment. Wasn't anybody out there to pay, so. But I think he does have a box there. I think they can keep a box up there, and he's done a lot of work out there, so it's a nice place. Make that motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Fields approving our treasurer's report.
Second.
Second by Commissioner, was that Commissioner Parker?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 13, Christie, any budget amendments?
Several.
Okay.
So I was expecting Carl to be here to go through them, but if y'all want me to try to get through them, I will.
I know you can do it.
So we have some old and we have some new, so. We have 60 through 75 are the old ones, and then we have 1 through
When you say old, you're referring to
Oh.
effective previous
September 30th.
calendar year.
Calendar year.
Previous fiscal year.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Any of these ask for new money, or are these reallocations?
They're just cleanup.
Every one of them
All of
is
them are.
reallocation,
All of
no
them.
new money involved.
60 is precinct 1 that we just went over with moving the, I think last court, we actually moved the remaining funds from all the precincts over to 20 that they had left. And that's precinct 1.
These have all been previously signed by all the commissioners.
Yes. And there's precinct 2 that's in there.
If there's anything noteworthy on any of these, we can bring them to my attention.
Oh, sure. And that's the precinct 3 and 4. And this is the county park where we closed out, we moved the money last court date. And this is all of that, what we just did there going into precinct 20, or Fund 20.
General County Road and Bridge.
Uh-huh. Fund 18, Law Library, it was a little short, so we moved a little bit of money from a contingency to close it out.
Law library.
I think it was the sheriff bill that we had discussed previously that kind of threw that over. Insurance fund, we moved money around. Just to kind of clean it up. And this is General County, that's what I said, we just cleaned up some areas.
Still no new money.
No.
11,000 comes out of contingency.
And that's for autopsies, kind of went over.
Autopsies, transporting the bodies, the primary expenses there.
And this is the 12B bond INS. We just did a budget amendment, just cleaning up some revenue that we missed. This is county attorney hot check, where we transferred more to the general county to cover his salaries. We ended up having a little bit more money this year to go ahead and move, so we did a budget amendment to reflect that.
So greater collections
Uh-huh.
than budgeted.
That's the same thing on his pretrial Class C.
we ended up moving more over there than what we originally budgeted for. And then the next couple is the FEMA that we just discussed, FEMA Precinct 1 and 3, showing where that's moving to Fund 20. And the last one is Precinct 4 FEMA, where we're holding that in a payable until we get approval that what was left can be used for some Precinct 2's FEMA projects. Yes, I sent the information, the receipts to FEMA, but he has not given me 100% pay to do that, so I'm not going to release it until I get the go-ahead, so. Okay. In the new year, we have Fund 19, where when we set up the budget, we originally did the $500,000, but then when y'all came back and voted just for the $250,000, we did the $250,000 on the revenue, reduced it, but I forgot to reduce the expense side by $250,000. So we went in and cleaned that up to match the actual, what was approved through court for his budget.
Can you tell how much of that new money was used? Did we fixed that at a flat $250 regardless of what
Right.
was used?
It would be $250 plus whatever he would have committed. Yeah, because actually if you take the $250 from the $550, that's about what he's going to have that's going to be carried over.
He got his carryover plus a fresh $250.
And the new 2 and 3 is adjusting the jury fund for the bailiff fund to increase the bailiff salary according to the judges wanted it to match the sheriff's step levy.
About a $1,400 salary increase there.
That is all.
All right, any questions on those? If not, I need approval on budget amendments.
Make a motion.
Motion's made for approval by Commissioner Applewhite.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 14 is sign our pay orders and approve payment of our bills.
Make a motion to pay our bills.
Motion, Commissioner Parker.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any closing comments? Commissioner Parker, on your end?
Don't think I have anything, Judge.
Okay. Commissioner Applewhite? I think we covered the only thing I was thinking about. Yeah, we did. Commissioner Fields?
Just had a real good Thanksgiving, family. What it's all about, your family.
Anything else? Commissioner Riddle?
Don't think.
All right, 10-10. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you being here to help us with that decision. And I saw the copy of the letter that Roger sent to that developer, Ms. Belf, B-E-L-F. All right, ladies, thank you. Cheryl, your approved form is up here. And with a motion to adjourn, we'll adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion, Commissioner Applewhite, second, Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.